had 9 road games moved to larger arenas last year, but just 4 so far for 2026. WNBA teams are moving more games to different arenas this upcoming season, but Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever have significantly fewer of those games. The WNBA's regular season schedule announced Wednesday, including 19 games moved to different arenas, up from 15 last.
That's not some random scheduling mix-up. Last season, the Indiana Fever had 9 road matchups shifted into larger NBA arenas to handle the surge of fans showing up for Caitlin Clark. This season, that number dropped to just 4. At the same time, the league bumped total arena relocation from 15 to 19 games overall. So if interest is supposedly at an all-time high, why are fewer Fever games being placed in the biggest venues?
The Washington Mystics, Connecticut Sun, and Atlanta Dream each moved 1 game against Indiana last year, but none for the upcoming season. The New York Liberty, Portland Fire, Mercury, Valkyries, and Minnesota Lynx are already in NBA arenas, removing any need to move games for bigger crowds. Is part of this due to injuries? Well, they would like you to believe that, I think. They would like you to believe, oh, well, you know, she got injured last year. We don't want to move. We don't want to commit to a bigger arena. God forbid she gets injured.
Here's where the official story starts to unravel. We're told it's about injury concerns, pointing to Caitlin's groin issue at TD Garden on July 15th and claiming caution is a reason teams hesitate to lock in larger venues. That sounds sensible on the surface, until the attendance numbers tell a different story. Even after she announced she wouldn't return, the relocated game still packed out. The Fever pulled in an average of 15,884 fans on the road last season, roughly 4,000 more than any other team. And that happened with Clark playing in only 3 of the 9 relocated matchups before she went down.
You have names like Renee Montgomery, part owner of the Atlanta Dream. Names like Sheila Johnson, part owner of the Washington Mystics. Sheila Johnson, the same person who threw a fit that Caitlin Clark was named Time Magazine's Woman Athlete of the Year. And she said, why give it to Caitlin Clark? Let's give it to the whole entire league. If you ask me, this is a subtle play from folks like Sheila Johnson and Renee Montgomery. Because at the end of the season, they decreased the amount of Fever games that have been moved to bigger arenas. Yet in totality, they increased the league from 15 games to 19 games.
Now look at who's steering these calls. Renee Montgomery, a part owner of the Atlanta Dream. Sheila Johnson, a part owner of the Washington Mystics, the same Johnson who publicly objected when Time named Caitlin Clark its Athlete of the Year, arguing the spotlight should have gone to the whole league. Last season, the Dream shifted 1 Indiana matchup to State Farm Arena. This year, none. The Mystics did it once last season. Again, none now. The Connecticut Sun previously moved a game to TD Garden, the site of Clark's injury, and this season there are no plans for multiple big arena dates. The pattern isn't subtle. It's a clear pullback where there used to be expansion.
4 times this season. You see how massive the season was? You see how much of a success it was this year? And we only had Caitlin Clark. See, we don't really need her. I told you guys we were going to do this without her. Interesting. The decrease in moved Fever games comes after Caitlin Clark played in just 13 games last season. Clark appeared in just 3 of the 9 moved road games, including July 15th against the Connecticut Sun at TD Garden. Clark injured her groin in the 4th quarter of that game and missed the remainder of the season. The Fever remained the league's biggest attendance draw last year, averaging 15,884 fans for their...
And this is where the picture gets even clearer. Last season, both the Chicago Sky and Dallas Wings had 2 games shifted into larger arenas. This year, they are down to 1 each. At the same time, Toronto's expansion franchise has 5 games relocated to alternate venues, including 2 apiece in Montreal and Vancouver, proving the league is more than willing to chase bigger crowds and fresh markets when it suits the strategy. Yet the Fever's presence in those high-capacity settings has been scaled back. The numbers spell it out. Total relocated games rise from 15 to 19, but Fever games in those arenas fall from 9 to 4. That doesn't line up with talk about injuries or simple scheduling issues. It points to a deliberate change in priorities, as a league spokesperson told Front Office Sports.
But teams could still change course before the WNBA regular season starts. I think that is likely. It's easier to say, oh, we're gonna show everybody that we know this league is good with or without Galen Clark. We're gonna prove it. But once you talk to your owner buddies and they say, look how much we made. I mean, the Indiana Fever came to town. Look how much we're making, right? Once Renee Montgomery and Sheila Johnson talk to the owner of the Las Vegas Aces, talk to the owner of the Chicago Sky, and they say, hey, what was that gate looking like? Oh, damn. That's a lot of money.
Look at the 4 matchups that actually made the cut. July 5th against Vegas, August 8th versus Chicago, August 18th against Toronto, and August 20th facing Dallas. Every one of them lands deep in the calendar, long after the early season spotlight cools off. Last year, 9 Fever games were placed in NBA arenas right out of the gate to ride the surge of Caitlin Clark attention. Now the strategy looks flipped, banking on early momentum without leaning on those marquee venues, then rolling them out later in a more controlled way. Add another layer to it. The collective bargaining agreement still isn't locked in, and uncertainty around the 2026 season creates hesitation. From an arena operator's perspective, holding prime dates for basketball carries risk when global concert tours and major live events promise guaranteed sellouts. It makes more business sense to keep the calendar flexible, secure the high-revenue shows first, and only plug in a Fever game if space remains. That's not random timing. That's calculated scheduling shaped by leverage, risk, and revenue priorities.
Season against the Fever. The 2025 schedule was released 2 months earlier. The Dream announced in March that their game on May 22nd against Indiana would be moved to the State Farm home arena, home of the NBA's Hawks. The Wings announced a week later that they moved a game against the Fever to American Airlines Arena. A Dream spokesperson tells Front Office Sports that they are always exploring new opportunities. The 2026 WNBA season remains in jeopardy of not starting on time, as the league and its union have yet to come to terms on a new collective.
Here's another piece that undercuts the surface narrative. Chicago revealed in February 2025 that its first 2 games against Indiana were shifting to the United Center, even though the schedule had already been out since December. In March, Atlanta followed by moving its May 22nd matchup with the Fever to State Farm Arena, and Dallas did the same a week later, relocating a game to the American Airlines Center. These weren't built-in decisions. They came months after the calendar was set. A Fever spokesperson told Front Office Sports they can't address other teams' venue choices, but noted changes can still happen before the season begins. Read between the lines, and it signals more adjustments could be coming as organizations recognize the financial upside they don't want to miss.